The Dolphins got the win on Monday night against the Rams 23-15.
Yeah.
But it wasn't pretty, offensively speaking.
No, not really. They relied heavily on their defense.
A lot of questions about the offense, especially after we found out that left guard Robert Jones left the game with a knee injury.
That's a tough one. You know, the offensive line, it all starts there, and especially for a quarterback like Tua with his concussion history, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Jones has started every game this season.
Right, every single one.
Including the games Tua missed with a concussion.
Exactly.
So, questionable to return, what does that even mean?
Well, it's a tricky term. I mean, in the moment, the player's return to the game is uncertain. You know, it could be something that just needs a little bit of time.
Okay.
Or it could be much more serious.
So we just have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, we'll know more in the next few days.
What options do the Dolphins have if Jones is out for a longer period of time?
Well, right now, the only other guard on the roster is Lester Cotton. And while he's shown potential, he's not quite at the same level as Jones.
Yeah, Jones has really started to understand the Dolphins' blocking scheme.
Absolutely.
He's built a rapport with the rest of that offensive line.
Right.
That cohesion's so important for protecting the quarterback.
For sure.
Well, it's a big concern then with that lack of experience on the offensive line, especially considering the Rams sacked Tua 3 times in the third quarter.
Yeah, and that was with Jones still in the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he's out, they're going to have to make either to their blocking schemes or maybe personnel to keep Tua safe.
They've got that game coming up against the Raiders. And even though the Raiders are 2-7,
right,
that weak offensive line, that could be a problem for them.
Yeah, the Raiders actually has some really talented pass rushers.
Oh, wow.
So if the Dolphins don't step up their protection for Tua, it could be a rough game.
It's more than wins and losses at this point. It's about keeping Tua safe and giving him the opportunity to do his thing without getting hit. So speaking of Tua's performance, how is he handling the pressure and scrutiny, especially considering the concussion earlier this season?
You know, by all accounts, he's been really professional. I mean, Mike McDaniel, his coach, has praised his leadership, and he's acknowledged that Tua can be really hard on himself. You know, he always wants to be better.
Right.
Which is admirable, but it can also be a double-edged sword for someone in his position.
Sounds like he's trying to balance self-improvement with that pressure to perform at a high level while also dealing with those lingering concerns about his health. Has he said anything about his safety or his confidence in the team going forward?
He has, and he's been really positive about it. He's voiced his confidence in the team, his belief that they can make the playoffs.
Really?
He seems determined to lead the team to success.
Okay, so is there a feeling of unity, shared purpose in the locker room? Are other players echoing that optimism?
There seems to be a growing belief that they can turn things around. Calais Campbell, a veteran defensive tackle, he recently talked about just needing one spark to get things going.
So despite the offensive struggles, the injury to Jones, and the concerns about Tua's health, there's hope, a belief that this team has what it takes to overcome these obstacles and maybe make a push for the playoffs.
Yeah, there's definitely that feeling around the team.
So what are going to be the key factors in determining whether they actually do it?
I think the biggest one, without a doubt, is their ability to keep Tua safe.
Okay.
If they can't protect him, if he can't stay healthy, their playoff hopes are pretty much gone. They have to adjust the offensive line.
They have to.
Maybe figure out how to integrate Cotton effectively or find someone else to strengthen that position.
Right.
And they need to find more consistency on offense.
They can't rely on the defense to win every game.
Nope. Can't rely on the defense alone. They need to find that offensive balance and take some of the pressure off the defense.
So even with the win, there are some serious questions.
Yeah, this game might have hidden some issues that need to be fixed if they're going to be true contenders.
It's a good reminder that every game brings a new set of challenges.
It does.
And trying to win in the NFL is a constant battle.
It is. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And the Dolphins are at a real turning point.
Yeah.
How they respond to these challenges will determine what their season looks like. How they respond to these challenges, it'll determine what their season looks like. And this game against the Rams, even though they won, it showed some real weaknesses that, you know, could really hurt their playoff chances if they don't fix them.
This next game against the Raiders will be interesting. I mean, they're 2-7, but they could really pose a threat to the Dolphins' offensive line, especially with Jones out.
Oh, yeah.
Their pass rushers could really take advantage of that and put more pressure on Tua. So how should the Dolphins approach this matchup?
Well, they've got to come up with a game plan that protects Tua but still lets them move the ball. Maybe more quick passes, screens, runs to keep those Raiders pass rushers on their toes. And they could use their tight ends and running backs to help with protection.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about the mental side of things? The Dolphins have been up and down all season.
Right.
With Tua's concussion and their inconsistent play, how's this setback going to affect their morale going forward?
That's a great point. It's a real test of their mental toughness.
Yeah.
Adversity can either bring a team together or tear them apart.
Yeah.
The Dolphins need to rally around Tua and support each other.
Right.
They need to believe that they can overcome this and stay focused on their goal of making the playoffs.
So big picture, what are the key factors that are going to determine whether they succeed or fail in these crucial matchups?
The offensive line's performance is going to be huge.
Right.
Can they protect Tua enough for him to make plays? Can they establish a running game to take some pressure off the passing? The defense has been solid, but they can't carry the team every game. They need the offense to step up.
It sounds like their playoff hopes depend on finding that balance between offense and defense.
Exactly.
Protect Tua, establish a consistent offense, and keep up that defensive intensity. I think they can do it.
They have the talent, but that's not enough in the NFL.
Yeah.
They need to execute, minimize mistakes, take advantage of opportunities,
Right.
and the coaching staff has to make smart decisions.
Right.
The players have to perform well.
It seems like the next few weeks are going to be really telling for the Dolphins.
They are.
We'll see if they can step up, address their weaknesses, and make a real run for the playoffs. This game against the Raiders is a real test of their character, their resilience, their ability to overcome adversity.
It's a pivotal moment in their season, no doubt. This game could really set the tone for the rest of the year. A strong win could be just what they need to get some momentum going, but a loss, that's going to raise even more doubts.
It could create more questions than answers.
Exactly.
So beyond this one game, what are the bigger implications of all this for the Dolphins?
Well, it really forces them to think about who they are as a team.
Okay.
And what their long-term goals are. Can they build a contender with Tua, given his history?
Right.
Do they need to make the offensive line a top priority to keep him safe and let him reach his potential?
Those are some tough questions.
They are.
No easy answers.
Yeah.
It's like the Dolphins are at a crossroads, having to make some tough choices.
That's going to shape the future of the franchise. It's a reminder that in the NFL, success can be so fleeting, and you need a lot of things to go right. Talent, strategy, and a little bit of luck. The Dolphins have to show they can handle tough times and make the right moves to reach their goals. It definitely adds another layer of complication to their situation.
No doubt. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
You lose one guy, and it impacts the whole team.
Especially when that guy protects the quarterback. I mean, that's the most important position out there.
Right. And with Tua's history, it's not just about how well he plays. It's about keeping him healthy for the long term.
Absolutely. The Dolphins have to balance their playoff hopes with the risk to Tua's health. It's a tough spot.
So what can they do? What are their options to reduce that risk and help Tua stay healthy and play his best?
Well, first things first, they've got to look at who they have. Can Cotton really step up and fill Jones's shoes? Does he have what it takes to protect Tua?
Right.
If not, they might have to look elsewhere, free agents, trades.
But those aren't easy options, are they? Finding a good offensive lineman midseason is tough.
It is.
And it can be expensive, both in terms of money and draft picks.
Exactly. It's a tough call. They have to weigh the benefits of getting a proven player against what it'll cost them.
Yeah, a decision that could have a big impact on their season and beyond.
For sure.
So beyond personnel, what about the coaching staff? What can they do?
They've got to adapt, too. They need to come up with strategies to keep Tua from getting hit so much.
Okay.
Maybe quicker passes, more rollouts, play action to keep the defenses guessing.
That makes sense.
It shows that coaching in the NFL isn't just about X's and O's. It's about being able to solve problems, adjust to the situation, and putting your players in the best position to succeed.
It's a real test for the Dolphins coaching staff.
Yeah.
Can they be creative? Can they adjust their game plan to protect Tua?
Exactly. And at the end of the day, success in the NFL depends on so many things. Things you can't control.
Right.
Injuries happen. And how a team handles those injuries often determines how their season goes.
It's a defining moment for the Dolphins.
It is.
How will they handle this adversity? How will they adapt and overcome? This situation raises bigger questions, too.
It does. About player safety in the NFL.
Yeah.
The league's taking steps to address concussions and other injuries, but this just shows that they need to keep working at it, keep making player safety a priority.
Every decision, every rule, every piece of equipment should be designed with player safety in mind.
Right. It's about creating a culture where players feel comfortable talking about their injuries.
Where teams prioritize long-term health over winning at all costs.
Exactly. This whole situation with Jones and Tua shows just how complex this issue is.
And it reminds us that the conversation needs to continue.
It does, and we need to see action. We need to make the game safer.
This situation with Jones and Tua really drives home the point that the NFL is more than just a game.
It's about people.
It's about human beings.
Real people with lives and families. We can't forget that.
Absolutely. So as we watch the Dolphins figure this out, let's remember that it's not just about wins and losses. It's about the human stories behind it all.
It's about remembering that striving for excellence shouldn't come at the cost of someone's health.
Well said.
Yeah.
What does this injury mean for the Dolphins' playoff hopes, especially with Tua's history?
We'll see how the rest of their season plays out. It really highlights that balance between competition and player safety. It's a conversation we need to keep having.
Goodbye, and see you in the next.